Hey guys, so it's Chris, and it is, I can't even think what day it is, I just had a mind fart. It's October 6th, so I wanted to record a video, and I was going to make a video yesterday for the full moon, but I was guided to really purge some energy within myself and really transmute and release. So I spent the evening, I was outside for about 4 hours, and I lit my fire pit, and I just created a fire ritual and wrote down all the things that I wanted to release, like any patterning, any programming, any karmic energies that I wanted to release. I released, burned them in the fire, and I also was kind of pulled into connecting with some indigenous ancestors, so I found myself immersed in fire dancing. So I spent my evening just really honoring that space within myself, so I didn't do a full moon reading. But even with that said, I feel like with this reading, I wanted to focus on not necessarily the energies of the full moon, but I want to focus on the direction that we're all taking preceding this energy of the full moon. So know that we're still in the full moon energies. I believe the moon's at like 96% waning, and we're still in the sign of Aries, so we're still very into this energy. So I actually wanted to, and typically this card immediately came out. So the moon, it's so funny we're talking about that, right? I didn't even shuffle the deck. So again, we're talking about cycles that we need to release. We're talking about illusions here. There's a portal that's open for us to really walk through and purge these energies, but I feel like, you know, a lot of people aren't taking the opportunity to see this. Like, we're still under this veil. We're not seeing things clearly. We're not understanding or seeing the energies that we're in, and the need for us to release these patterns, release these karmic ties, because they're being illuminated. They're being illuminated for us to see, but some people are, again, I feel like we're caught up in these energies on the world platform that are distracting us. And even though we may be internally aware, either consciously or on a soul level, that we need to do this work, we're allowing ourselves to get swept up. And I feel like I'm looking at like kind of I'm looking like at the water. If you can see the water here in the card, and I feel like a lot of us are getting swept up into the emotional energy that's being triggered in us on the world platform, but the energy that's being triggered in us is distortion energy. So it's pulling away from us what is it being illuminated for us to see, that so we can change. So that card kind of came up in the beginning. So, but I'm going to shelf this deck, and I haven't really read using tarot in a while. I typically use oracle cards, but I'm doing this challenge over on Instagram. It's shadow work, so it's about connecting and understanding your shadow energies so that you can release it for healing. And it's predominantly a tarot challenge, so it really opened me back up to working with tarot, and so I feel guided to kind of connect with this. So the deck I'm using, I know sometimes people ask, is the Fountain Tarot. I really like the box for it, but this is the box. It's so cool. I like when artists use and make boxes to go with the decks that don't collapse. They're not super cheap, and I love this. It's a very sturdy box, and I love the message on the inside. If you can see what it says, it's kind of a glare. I love it. You are the voice and the breath of the universes. So I really like that box. So let's see what is coming up for the energy of the full moon in space, and we're focused on what we need to integrate, the direction we need to kind of move in going forward from this energy, what's in the highest and best good for our pathway, what is in the highest and best good for us being in a space of unconditional love within ourselves and also honoring that within others. And really, really shifting ourselves into a space of unity here on this planet, because it's much needed at this time. So let's see. Looking at what's come up already. Alright. So let me tap into this here. All right. So we have, hopefully you guys can see this, the Hierophant in reverse. And the Hierophant's about religious constructs. And I feel like there is like a restructuring of the things that we believe in. Many of us may be finding that it doesn't matter whether you're spiritual or religious, just whatever resonates with you, but you may be finding that the beliefs that you held about maybe a specific spiritual practice or a certain religious organization or body that you're in, you may find that the teachings or those belief systems no longer resonate with you. I feel like for some people, they may find themselves in an energy where the organization leaders are promoting a certain agenda or promoting certain teachings, and they may be seeing that, or there may be kind of like a revelation. And I feel like that, like with this moon, like I feel like there may be a certain revelation in terms of like these organizational leaders or these priests or these ministers who are not practicing what they preach. You know, it's like I feel like it's teaching and preaching one thing, and then behind closed doors being a totally different person. I feel like this is an illusion or distortion energy here. So it's like I feel like this distortion energy may be keeping people trapped or keeping people blocked and unable to see or move into healing or releasing what they need to, because they can't see clearly, because they've been so tied into like spiritual teachings or religious teachings that are based on distortion energy, based on fear-based teachings. But I feel for a lot of people, I feel like, well, one, I feel like for a certain group of people, this is really about expansion. There's an expansion, there's a shift of energy happening. And as we approach ascension energy or spiritual growth, we kind of go through, in order to kind of go through the doorway or the portal, we have to purify ourselves. Like we just can't walk through the portal with all our fears and all our baggage and all our karmic stuff. We have to purge what doesn't work for us. In the doorway, that gateway determines, kind of think of it like if there's certain codes around that doorway, and it says, okay, here's this person and they're at this doorway, so it's time for them to walk through this doorway, you know, and I'm going to turn it up right, but it's time for them to walk to this doorway and see where they've been limited themselves, whether it's in their thinking or if it's in their belief systems, or they need to release certain karmic cycles or patterns. and they have to release this, and that's really that purification and release, purging energy of the Aries full moon. But they have to release this before they move forward, and sometimes that requires us to restructure our beliefs. And when we move up, when we level up, sometimes we have to move into a higher level or an expansion of our belief systems, and the ones that we held before no longer fit into the scope of the space that we're moving into. I feel like this energy of restructuring your spiritual or your religious beliefs, or coming to a realization that it doesn't resonate with you, or there's teachings that you may have been a part of for a long time, so you're used to that patterning and that conditioning. I feel like the moon coming up in reverse is like having a difficult time really dealing with this energy of the Hierophant in reverse. Like, I feel like it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that, you know, the pastor of my church was like in an affair. And I'm not saying that's your specific situation, but or you may find a document that disputes and completely discredits the system of beliefs that you had. I know I had something similar like that happen to me. So I feel like when you're in that space, it's hard to be like, oh my gosh, like, I've believed in this system for, you know, X amount of time, and that's deeply coded and it's embedded in your programming. And, you know, we have to release that so that we can grow, and we can grow spiritually into who we're meant to be. So I feel like there's a lot of struggle with releasing this energy, which is why the moon's in reverse. But I'm one that when I read in reverse, I also turn the cards upright. And I feel like if you go through this doorway, you go through this portal, and I feel like you allow the water to flow, because it's like these waves, and I don't know if you can see, it's like these waves, but they're moving towards this portal. And I don't know, it's really hard. I'm gonna come in. If you can see right there, there's a wolf that's howling at the moon, and it's like the call to kind of awaken and pay attention to this doorway that you have to go through. You're being shown the way, but there's, you know, you have to release this energy, release these beliefs that no longer serve you, so that you can go through this portal. So and I feel like there's some people that are, you know, because, you know, when we're talking about this energy, we're talking about letting go. We're talking about, you know, the fluidity, which is a very water-based energy flow. Some people are embracing this. Some people are, again, staying in the attachment, having a difficult time letting go. I feel like a lot of people, the majority of people, are having a difficult time letting go. And there's a percentage of people that, you know, even though it may be uncomfortable for them to kind of face this reality, and it's kind of like, it's like the veil of truth. That's kind of what came through, and I saw like a curtain that's been closed, like, over your eyes, and then all of a sudden it's just like ripped open, like, hey, let's show you the truth about this situation. And you're kind of like, oh my gosh, like, and you're like in disbelief, but it's like you're so used to being in this pattern, it's hard to be like, oh my gosh, I have to let this go. But then there's also a fear that can be created behind of, okay, now what's next? So I feel like what's next is we have the Queen of Wands. Okay. So the Queen of Wands, she's very connected to her energy. She shines. She nurtures herself, and she she's in her power. She uses her inner knowing, and she uses her power to um, create what she wants in her life. And I feel like going through this kind of this releasing of old cycles and moving into new ones is really about creative energy. I feel like the Queen of Wands is like, okay, like even with this, and it feels very, very shadowy, because I feel like we face a lot of shadows when we talk about the moon. But the Queen of Wands is moving us into this bright space within ourselves. The Queen of Wands is, she's here to help us or teach us or nurture us how to empower ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to be in our light. She's very, she trusts her intuition. And you know, the moon's also intuitive too, very feminine energy. So she's listening, and she's going through this portal. She's listening to the call, and she's trusting this energy intuitively. So because she's trusted this energy intuitively, it's like she's like, I feel like I keep getting a lot of this energy of reclaiming her power. And if you can see around her head, she has like a golden halo. A lot of very solar plexus energy here as well. Reclaiming her power, reclaiming her divinity. And she has her arms open. And she's fully receiving. Like, I feel like this is kind of like light codes coming in for people. And what I'm getting is, I always get like two different energies. So if you're the group with the moon in reverse, then you may be experiencing, especially as it relates to the solar plexus, you may be experiencing like a lot of imbalances in that area. So when we experience any imbalances in any chakra areas, it means that we're holding outdated program. There's negative patterns or even attachments that are in those areas that we need to release. So I feel like if you are in the moon in reverse energy, you can be experiencing digestive issues. It can manifest as ulcers. I know with a lot of my clients and customers, I've had a lot of people experiencing ascension symptoms and blocks. I've heard a lot of people say they've just been like throwing up, and throwing up is purging. Like, your physical body is trying to purge that energy physically, is trying to release something. And we have to understand that there's always a deeper underlying energy that's not physical. And when it gets to the point where it becomes really intense, then that energy on a soul or spiritual level manifests physically. So if you're someone that is in this reversal energy, you may be blocking your light. You're very disempowered. You're very prone to manipulation energy, people siphoning, couldn't get the word out, siphoning energy from you. You may be in like kind of like, I'm feeling like a manipulation energy. You may be in relationships where, like, I feel like codependency. You can be experiencing a lot of things that are disempowering to you in this energy. And sorry, the people who are going through this portal and they're doing this purging, they're clearing, and they're moving on the other side here. They're reclaiming their power. And sovereignty came up. Like, the Queen of Swords, she looks very, it's a very freeing energy, right? And Sagittarius came up. So I feel like this is a very Sagittarian energy. I feel like a lot of Sagittariuses or Sagittarius rising may be feeling this energy very intensely. Again, you can be experiencing any aspect of this. This also applies to Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius rising. And I'm also getting that even on a collective level, it may take until the sun is in Sagittarius, so the end of the year, for this energy to fully either like to integrate or manifest. So some people may be moving with ease through this gateway, through this portal, and if you are in the opposite aspect of this energy, it may take you up until the end of the year when we are actually in Sagittarius for this to actually shift for you, for this healing work to take place. So the next card we have is the Magician. The Magician. So I want you to be able to see the image here. And the Magician is in reverse here. So the Magician in reverse for me is always, again, this is like not recognizing your power. You know, not realizing that you have all the tools that you need to create the life that you want, to manifest the things that you want. I feel like the Magician doesn't take action in their lives. I feel like the Magician in reverse can be, again, like there's this victimizer kind of mindset and programming with the Magician. I feel like the Magician in reverse also is like very indecisive and has a difficult time making choices. And if any choices do get made, it's kind of like a manipulation energy. So I feel like there is a need, or what is coming up for a lot of people is to look at areas where, one, you may be involved in manipulation energy with other people, and where, or either where someone else may be manipulating you. This is like you using your gifts or someone else using their gifts to manipulate you. Because when the Magician is reversed, he recognizes the power of the tools he has for the greater good. And the magic that he uses behind that is based upon unconditional love. And his source is the energy of God, or the prime creator that's wielding his action, because this is very masculine energy, and masculine energy is about movement. So I think this is about getting us to evaluate how we're using our energy and we're moving in the world, how we're using those tools to move.